Number 1. Demodex. The mites on your face. Right now, at the base of your eyelashes, there are mites. They're called demodex, about 1/3 of a millimeter long, 8 legs, and no anus. They have no way to expel waste, so they store it inside their own bodies for their entire 2-week life. And when they die, they release all of it at once into your pore. They live head down inside the follicle, feeding on the oil your skin produces. Their bodies are shaped for it, long, tapered, built to slide into a hole the width of a hair. And at night, while you are asleep, they come out. They crawl onto the surface of your face. They find each other. They mate on your skin. And before the light comes back, they crawl into the follicle again. Almost every adult on Earth has them. You did not catch them from anything. They were transferred to you when you were an infant, most likely by the people who held you and kissed you. And they have been living on your face ever since. You will never feel them. You will never see them. For the overwhelming majority of people, they cause absolutely nothing, because they eat oil you are going to shed anyway. They only become a problem when the population explodes. That usually happens alongside a skin condition, or when the immune system stops keeping the numbers down. And even then, the result is irritation, redness, itching around the lids. Not danger. This is the safest thing on the entire list. It gets less comfortable from here. Number 2. Staphylococcus epidermidis. The bacteria on your skin. Every square centimeter of your skin is holding bacteria. Millions of them, on every centimeter across your entire body. The most common one has a name, Staphylococcus epidermidis. It lives on the surface. It eats the salt and the oil in your sweat. It does not go deeper. It does not damage anything. And it does something you should genuinely want it to do. It takes up space. Think about what your skin actually is. It's a warm, damp, nutrient-rich surface, exposed to the world, that dangerous bacteria would love to colonize. Every day you touch handles, money, other people, animals, soil. Epidermidis is already there. It's occupying the ground. It produces compounds that inhibit competitors. It keeps the surface crowded, and a crowded surface is very hard to invade. It is a tenant that keeps worse tenants out. This is part of why aggressive overwashing can backfire. Strip the surface hard enough, and you're not creating a clean slate. You're clearing ground, and something is going to settle on it. There is one exception, and it matters. If S. epidermidis gets past the skin, through a deep wound, along a catheter line on the surface of a surgical implant, it becomes a different problem entirely. On plastic and metal, it forms a biofilm, a dense layer of bacteria wrapped in a matrix it secretes itself. Antibiotics struggle to penetrate it. Immune cells struggle to reach it. Sometimes the only way to clear it is to remove the implant. On you, it is protection. Inside you, it is a serious infection. If you're still here, subscribe. Number 10 is inside roughly 1/3 of the people watching this video right now, and almost none of them will ever know. Number 3. Malassea, the fungus on your face. There is a fungus growing on your face, right now. Malassea is a yeast, and it lives wherever your skin produces the most oil: scalp, forehead, the sides of your nose, upper back and chest. What makes it unusual is what it can't do. Most fungi manufacture their own fatty acids. Malassea lost that ability somewhere in its evolution. So it takes yours. It sits on your skin, breaks down the oil you produce, consumes the part it needs, and leaves the rest behind. The leftovers are the problem. One of the byproducts is oleic acid, and a large share of people are irritated by it. Not everyone. This is why some people get dandruff and others never do, on exactly the same shampoo. In the people who react, the skin responds the way skin responds to irritation. It accelerates. Cells that would normally take a month to reach the surface and shed do it in a fraction of that time. They come off in clumps instead of individually. That's dandruff. Dandruff is not dryness. It is not a lack of moisture. It is the visible result of your skin reacting to a fungal waste product, which is exactly why anti-dandruff shampoo is not a moisturizer. Read the active ingredient sometime: ketoconazole. selenium sulfide, zinc pyrithione. Those are antifungals. You are not treating dry skin. You are reducing a fungal population. Number 4, your gut microbiome. Trillions of them. Inside your large intestine, there are trillions of bacteria. By cell count, there are roughly as many bacterial cells in your gut as there are human cells in your entire body. They are not passengers. They are doing work you cannot do. They break down fiber your own digestive enzymes cannot touch, and in doing it, they produce short-chain fatty acids that feed the cells lining your colon directly. They synthesize vitamin K and several of the B vitamins, and you absorb them. In infancy, they do something even more important. They train your immune system. A developing immune system has to learn an extraordinarily difficult distinction: what is a threat and what is simply present. The gut bacteria are the curriculum. Animals raised in completely sterile conditions, with no microbiome at all, develop abnormal immune systems, underdeveloped gut tissue, poor tolerance. They require specially modified diets just to stay alive. This is the clearest case on the list of something living inside you that you actively, measurably need. But not everything in there is helping. Some of it is only waiting. Number 5. Candida albicans. The yeast in your mouth. Candida albicans is a yeast, and it is already in your mouth and in your gut. In a healthy body, it stays in one form: a rounded budding cell. Small, single, quiet. It sits inside an enormous crowd of bacteria that compete with it for space and nutrients, and keep its numbers permanently low. Change the conditions, and it changes shape. It grows long filaments called hyphae. Thread-like structures that push between your cells, force apart the junctions holding tissue together, and penetrate. Same organism, different body plan, and now it is invasive. What triggers the switch is usually not the yeast getting stronger. It's the competition disappearing. A course of broad-spectrum antibiotics is designed to kill bacteria. Candida is a fungus. The antibiotics do nothing to it at all. So the bacteria die, the ground empties, and the yeast expands into it. In most people, that means oral thrush, or a localized infection. Uncomfortable, treatable, not dangerous. In someone whose immune system is severely suppressed, chemotherapy, transplant medication, advanced illness, it can cross into the bloodstream. Invasive candidiasis carries a mortality rate that is genuinely serious, even with treatment. Candida is not an invader. It is a resident. It has been there the whole time. It is simply waiting for the balance to break. Halfway, the last 3 are the ones that actually kill people. And the final one is the reason your body maintains an entire organ whose main job is to deal with it. Number 6. Varicella zoster. The virus that never left. If you had chickenpox, you still have it. The varicella zoster virus is not cleared from your body. That is not how it works. When the rash resolves and you recover, the virus does not die. It retreats. It travels backward along your sensory nerves, away from the skin, into the nerve clusters that sit beside your spinal cord. And there it stops. It stops replicating. It produces almost no proteins. It exists as bare genetic material inside your own nerve cells, doing essentially nothing, which means your immune system has almost nothing to detect. It can stay that way for 50 years. Then something changes. Your immune surveillance drops. That happens with age, with illness, with immunosuppressive drugs, sometimes with severe stress. And the virus reactivates. It travels back down the exact nerve it retreated along, and erupts into the patch of skin that nerve serves. That's shingles. And this is why shingles looks the way it does. Because it follows a single nerve, the rash appears as a band on one side of the body, and it stops dead at the midline, because that nerve does not cross it. The rash heals. The nerve does not always. A significant number of people are left with pain in that same band, burning, electrical, triggered by light touch for months, sometimes for years. It has its own name, postherpetic neuralgia. The virus you caught as a child is still in your spine. It has been there this entire time. Number 7. Toxoplasma gondii, the parasite in your brain. Toxoplasma gondii is a parasite, and it is estimated to be inside a very large share of the world's population. It has an unusual requirement. It can only reproduce sexually inside one kind of animal, cats. Everything else, livestock, birds, rodents, is an intermediate host, a place to wait. You pick it up from undercooked meat, from contaminated soil or water, or from handling cat litter. Once inside you, it spreads through your body, and then your immune system does something specific. It does not eliminate it, it contains it. The parasite is walled off into cysts, small, dormant, protected structures, and those cysts settle permanently in muscle tissue and in the brain. Here is the part that made this parasite famous. In rodents, toxoplasma appears to alter behavior. Infected rats show reduced avoidance of cat odor. Some studies report they become measurably less cautious, which is precisely what the parasite needs. A rat that gets caught by a cat delivers the parasite to the only place it can reproduce. Whether anything comparable happens in humans is genuinely contested. There are studies suggesting associations with reaction time, risk-taking, and certain conditions. There are also studies that find nothing, and the confounding factors are substantial. I'm not going to tell you it changes your personality. The evidence does not support that cleanly. What is not contested is where it lives. If you carry it, there are cysts in your brain tissue, and they will be there for the rest of your life. For a functioning immune system, that is a permanent stalemate, contained, silent, harmless. If that immune system fails, the cysts reactivate, and reactivated toxoplasmosis in the brain is a life-threatening condition. Number 8. Helicobacter pylori, the first one that kills you. Your stomach produces hydrochloric acid strong enough to strip metal. For most of medical history, that was considered reason enough to assume nothing lived in it. The stomach was thought to be sterile. Ulcers were blamed on stress and spicy food. That was wrong, and it was wrong for a very long time. Helicobacter pylori lives in your stomach acid. It survives by cheating. It produces an enzyme called urease, which splits urea into ammonia. Ammonia is alkaline. The bacterium surrounds itself in a small chemical cloud that neutralizes acid in its immediate vicinity, and then it moves. It has flagella. It drills through the mucus layer that lines your stomach wall, and it settles underneath, in the one place in your stomach the acid never reaches. It is carried by an enormous share of the world's population. In some regions, the majority of adults. Most of them will never have a single symptom, but it damages the lining it lives in. Chronic, low-grade, decades-long inflammation. In a fraction of carriers, that becomes an ulcer, an open sore in the stomach wall, exposed to your own acid. And in a smaller fraction, the constant cycle of damage and repair drives the tissue toward cancer. Helicobacter pylori is classified as a Group 1 carcinogen. That is the same category as tobacco smoke and asbestos. It is the single strongest known risk factor for stomach cancer. It is also treatable. A combination of 2 antibiotics and an acid-suppressing drug clears it in most people. The difficulty is not the treatment. The difficulty is that almost nobody knows they're carrying it until something has already gone wrong. Number 9. Staphylococcus aureus, the second one that kills you. Roughly a third of people carry Staphylococcus aureus in their nose. It sits inside the nostril. It causes nothing. There is no symptom, no sign, no reason to suspect it. Then the skin opens. A cut, a surgical incision, a catheter line, a burn, an insect bite you scratched. The organism that was completely harmless on the outside is now on the inside, and it is extraordinarily well equipped for that. It produces toxins that destroy white blood cells, the exact cells sent to kill it. It produces an enzyme that clots the blood around itself, building a physical shield out of your own plasma. On implanted material, it forms biofilms that antibiotics cannot properly penetrate. And in the bloodstream, it seeds. It settles on heart valves. It settles in bone, in joints, in the spine. Staphylococcus aureus bacteremia has a mortality rate that remains high even with modern intensive treatment. And a meaningful share of it is MRSA, methicillin resistant to the entire class of antibiotics originally designed to kill it. The organism did not change when it went inside you. Only the location changed. Number 10. Streptococcus pneumoniae, the last one that kills you. The last one is in the throats of a large share of perfectly healthy people right now, and it is the reason you have an organ whose main purpose is catching it. Streptococcus pneumonia lives in the nasopharynx, the space behind your nose, above your throat. Carriage is highest in young children. Adults who live with children carry it far more often than adults who don't. What makes it dangerous is not a toxin, it's a coat. It is wrapped in a polysaccharide capsule, a smooth, slippery outer layer. And that capsule is the entire problem, because your immune cells cannot get a grip on it. The normal method your body uses to identify and swallow a bacterium does not work on a smooth surface. The capsule makes it, functionally, invisible. That is precisely the problem your spleen exists to solve. Your spleen is specialized for encapsulated bacteria. It traps them mechanically and holds the cells that produce the antibodies capable of tagging that capsule. While the bacterium stays in the throat, nothing happens at all. When it descends into the lungs, it causes pneumonia. When it crosses into the bloodstream, it causes sepsis. When it reaches the membranes around your brain, it causes meningitis. Pneumococcal disease kills a substantial number of people worldwide every year. The deaths concentrate at the two ends of life, the very young and the very old. There are vaccines, and they work. They target the most dangerous capsule types. But the organism has dozens of capsule variants, and it exchanges genetic material with remarkable ease, including the genes that build the capsule itself, which means it can change the exact thing the vaccine was designed to recognize. So, 10 things living on you and inside you. Mites in your eyelashes, bacteria across your skin, fungus on your face, trillions of organisms in your gut, yeast in your mouth, a virus asleep in your spine, a parasite walled up in your brain, and 3 organisms that kill people every single day. You did not catch most of them. You acquired them in infancy and in childhood, from your family, your food, your environment, and you have carried them ever since. Here is what the list actually shows. Almost none of them are invaders. The mites eat oil you were shedding anyway. The skin bacteria hold ground against something far worse. The gut bacteria feed you and taught your immune system how to work. Even the 3 killers spend the overwhelming majority of their existence doing absolutely nothing. What changes is not the organism. It's the border. Skin bacteria are protective on your skin and lethal in your blood. Candida is silent in a crowd and invasive in an empty field. Pneumococcus is harmless in your throat and fatal in your brain. Nothing about them changed, only where they were. Your body is not sterile. It was never meant to be. There is no version of you that is clean. What you are is a negotiated boundary. Trillions of organisms on one side, your tissue on the other, and a set of systems holding the line every second of your life. Most of the time, it holds. Subscribe, and I'll show you what happens when it doesn't.